All right, you guys, I am so excited for this week. It's like super excited because some of you guys have probably seen these guys on Instagram. They're amazing. I love them. They dance. They're funny. They just put a smile on your face anytime you watch them. So I'm connecting with everybody on social media these days because it's amazing that way. But you guys, I'm super excited to talk to this couple. I have Derek and Whitley from the Globetrotter family. And I found them right before they like blew up all crazy with their dance reels, but you're going to have to go look at them because they're so much fun. So I'm super excited to talk to them about adoption today. So I will go ahead and let them share their story and I'll turn the time over to them.
Where do we start?
Well, there's one right here. You can start with her.
Hi. Yeah, I guess we'll start from the beginning. You want to take it away?
So Derek and I had been married probably 5 years or so, and we were looking to start our family, and we started trying to get pregnant, and basically simultaneously we started trying to look into adoption. And we kind of, from the beginning of our relationship, always knew that we wanted adoption to be a part of our lives. We thought it was going to be more internationally. We went on a tour to Africa and went to a couple orphanages there and had a great experience. And we kind of just felt like that was the direction we were going to go. So I started looking into that. And I told a friend of ours, she had just adopted, that we were kind of looking into adoption. And then 2 months later, we had Dorothy. Is so really the story.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. We kind of mentioned it to one friend that was in the adoption circle. And like a week later, she texted us and said, "Oh my gosh, I might have found a family or a birth mom that's considering placing." And we're like, whoa, this is all happening way too fast. We're not even sure like if this is what we want to do. This is crazy. And we sent in a letter to this birth mom and her family and sent some pictures. Had a conversation with the birth mom's mom. She was young at the time, Dorothy's birth mom. Yeah, is that right?
Do you know your birth mom's name, Dorothy? Do you remember?
Allie.
Yep, yeah, Allie. Yep.
And then we were laying in bed one morning and I had a voicemail on my phone from somebody that was kind of our go-between in the whole situation, and opened up the voicemail and started listening to it and hurried and pushed pause because I was the only one listening to it, and I said I better put this on speakerphone, so we're both listening to this at the same time. And I played it, and she said, "Oh my gosh, they chose you. They were looking at a couple families and they want you to adopt this baby girl." And we thought she was due in a couple weeks, right? Yeah. So our initial reaction was just shock and like fear, I guess, like going from, the freedom of just a couple and all that, and then thinking of having a baby in 6 weeks. We never thought it was going to happen like that or that fast. And we know most hopeful adoptive parents, some wait years, multiple years, and then for someone to just call us basically out of the blue and say, do you want this baby, was insane. Anyways, Dorothy was born a few weeks later, and as you can see in the video, she's the cutest thing in the entire world. The best thing that's ever happened to us.
Yep. It's been I remember when she was first born, we would sit in bed and look at her and just sob because we were so grateful to have this perfect human being in our lives, and so sad simultaneously that she is brand new to this world and already is faced with a challenge that most babies don't have to deal with. And just thinking about her birth mom and just the complexities of all the things that adoption adds to life and how that might affect her, how maybe when she gets older she will be confused and sad, or maybe she won't, maybe she'll, and just trying to hold space for whatever her emotions might be along with all of it, and just trying to grasp all that adoption has to do with this life in the very first, week she was born.
And then we realized, oh, she won't have any questions about it until she turns 7. So we got
Yeah,
7 years
or
to figure it out.
I know, we were
we try to bring it up way more often than she cares to talk about it.
Yeah.
So far, because she's just 4 and busy being a 4-year-old, right?
Yeah.
But along those lines, I heard this quote. I'm gonna botch it, but I don't even know who it's by. But saying that adoption is a beautiful solution to a heartbreaking situation, and I think that's really true. Just like nobody deserves to be separated from their family. No birth mom deserves to be in a situation where they can't take care of their own child, and no child deserves to be separated from their biological family. And so most people are just so positive about adoption, which is true too. It's beautiful, it's amazing, it's incredible. But they say, oh, she's so lucky, oh, you're so lucky, everyone's so lucky in the situations. It's like, yes, and there's challenges that come along with it, but we're grateful to be part of the beautiful solution that came together for everyone's best interest. What was I gonna say? Do you have anything to add to that?
Well, do you care if I interject?
Go for it.
I love where you guys are already at right now, because I feel like a lot of people don't think like this is just kind of the stigma I felt, but all the adoptive parents I've ever interviewed, it's the same thing. You guys understand the heartache. You guys already being prepared for her to maybe have to go through some difficult feelings when she's older. Like, I feel you're already a step ahead of the game. Like, that, you acknowledge that that there's heartache and there's pain and there's gonna be why. Every kid, like, even though, I told you my childhood was really good, happy-go-lucky, the older you get, you're kind of like, what's wrong with me? Like, that's where you feel is like, what was wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with me, but you're kind of like, what, why? And so I love that you guys have said that. And I love that quote. I've heard that quote multiple times because it's true. I love shining a positive light on adoption, but I also know that there's so much hardship that comes with it too. So yeah.
I think like a huge, so early on right when we found out that Dorothy was going to be coming into our lives, we kind of miraculously connected with this other couple that had adopted 3 kids, and we were looking for a house at the time. They were selling their house, and anyways, it was just kind of this weird coincidence. But they
were
ended
the first
up,
people we told about Dorothy.
yeah, these random people, these
anybody.
strangers that we didn't even know. We're like, oh, your kids are adopted. Oh my gosh, we might be adopted. Like, we hadn't even told our parents yet. And they took us under their wing, and we were like, oh my gosh, we're so scared about this and this and this. We know nothing about this. And they just were like, oh my gosh, let us help you so much. So one of our main concerns right off the bat was these birth families, that's a scary thing to navigate. That's why we initially kind of wanted to adopt internationally, is just the thought of the birth families being involved and getting overly involved, or the scariness of navigating all that. And they really help and open our eyes to the beauty of open adoption, and being like, no, that I see how you see that or feel that, but open adoption is so beautiful, and there's no threats involved. You're completely in control of the situation, and these birth parents can be as involved as you want and is best for the child. But I think to combat, we're saying, some of those hardships and challenges that come along with being an adoptee, I think the best thing you could do would be forge a relationship with the birth parents if they're open to it, just because that's what we hope for and want with Dorothy and Finn, is for them to grow up at least knowing for sure 100% that they're adopted. Better yet, if they know who their birth parents are, and better still, if they actually have a relationship with them, to where they could be like, when they're having those difficult questions, why didn't they want me? What was wrong? Then we could say, let's go to lunch with Allie and talk about it. You know what I mean? Let's see what she was 18 at the time, and let's go ask her, and you guys can figure that out together, and hopefully she can be honest with you. I mean, that would be best case scenario. And every situation is different with birth parents and how they want to be involved. But I think open adoption, there's really no downsides or threats. It's just more love, nothing to be threatened by your kid being loved by more people.
Oh,
You
I
have
love
something to
that.
add to that, babe?
I was just, oh yeah, go ahead. You like haven't even talked, so you talk.
I don't. That was perfect. What you said, babe.
Good.
Are these
No, my favorite thing about adoptions now, because my adoption was obviously closed. One, because I was international, kind of the way you guys were going.
You're
Is
right.
they
Times have changed too. Like that's just how things were before, and it's no fault against people
correct.
of a different generation. It's just I think we've learned a lot in over the years, and things are coming around to we're getting smarter and better.
No, and I love it. Open adoption. It's like my favorite thing ever because it's exactly what you said. Like for me, it's just more room for love, more room for like family, more room for learning. And, and then exactly your kids can grow up knowing like why things were maybe done and, harder conversations, obviously, when they're adults and stuff, but they can have that bond. Like most of the open adoptions I've seen are just beautiful. And I think it's amazing how like they make it work. Like there's one couple I interviewed, I think they've got 4 kids and like they have a billion grandparents. And I'm like, that's like every little kid's dream to have like 8 sets of grandparents and like birthdays and Christmas. And they're like, it's the most amazing thing in the world because, they have their own parents and then all the like, it's crazy. I'm like, that'd be amazing. I would like be so excited as a kid to have that.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
anything else that you guys like, any pros or cons for maybe people looking to adopt, like advice you guys have, like that couple gave you guys?
Well, we, after Dorothy, adopted Finn, and that whole adoption process was entirely different in so many ways, and different and complex in other ways. And it's just crazy how different every kid's story and every adoption story is. I mean, no two are similar. So, I mean, I think we learned different things from each of them. And especially for people that are like starting out or looking into adoption, it's hard to give advice because it like on how to start or how to begin to adopt is because they were so different, both of the adoptions, and I don't know
How they came about and
Yeah.
how it happened for us.
Yeah. But
How
we're
long
really
did you
lucky
guys
to
have to wait for Finn? Because I know you said Dorothy was pretty fast, but how about Finn? Was he the same way or?
about a year from
Okay.
the time that we like put it out on social media to the time that we had him. A little over a year, I guess. And
Okay,
both
yeah.
of them were not even through social media, they were like family connections. Both were. So yeah, I don't know. They're just, it's miraculous how they come to be in our lives. It's crazy.
No, and I love that. And you guys have seen both sides of the spectrum, which I like. One was super quick. The other one was like you said, like most couples where you do have to wait a little while.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of similar concerns that people that are considering adoption go through. Like we've talked to several families that were in our shoes, before adopting and saying, "Is this right for us?" And it seems like the same handful of questions come up. One is definitely about open adoption, which we talked about earlier, and the concerns with that, and the scariness of navigating that, and kind of answered that already. But another one, I think that a lot of couples that are considering adoption go through is like the fear of what if the connection's not there, like what if I don't connect with this baby because it's not biologically mine. And that's a real fear that a lot of a lot of parents go through, especially when they're considering it, and probably a big deterrent for people is because they just what if I don't feel the same, or what if I already have biological kids and we have this adopted kid, and there's different types of feelings. And anyways, what's our advice on that?
Well,
We have a lot of feelings on that.
I think it's okay to be nervous about that. First, I feel like people feel guilty about feeling those feelings. And so I think that's okay to be nervous about that and have that fear.
Don't judge those feelings. Just be curious about them. Instead of being like, that's bad, just be like, oh, that's interesting that I feel that way. Why?
Yeah. And then second, I think that you love the things that you serve in your life, and you are giving up so much to care for an adopted child. And so I think that even if it's not immediate, even if there's not this like burst of love that comes through your heart, then I think that it will come with time. And I think that goes for biological or not biological and not biological. I think that's the same case for parents who have their own biological child. I don't think that necessarily every baby comes out and every mother is like, oh my gosh, burst of love, I have an immediate connection. I think that's the same for adopted kids and biological kids. So I think that regardless, it will happen. And that just is by serving and giving your love and time to your babies.
And it's different from child to child. Like both of our kids are adopted, but Dorothy's the firstborn, Finn's second. She's a girl, she's a boy. So like naturally our relationship and feelings about them are different. Like you hear parents say, like, I love all my kids the same. And I think in like quantity, yes, but like in the texture of how we love them, it's so different. We have a unique relationship, just like I have with Whitley versus somebody else that I have a loving relationship with. You know, it's going to be very specific to that individual. So be careful not to judge those feelings or those questions, and just go into it with an open heart, knowing that if, like Whitley said, if you serve something and love something, then the right types of feelings will come, and there'll be a meaningful connection.
I think too, like going into it, I think something that has been important for me is holding space for all of the emotions that are involved in adoption. And Dorothy's so young, and so I don't know what the future will hold, but just like knowing that I am allowed to feel all the feelings, and so is she, and I shouldn't feel hurt by her emotions if she does feel a certain way, if she does have
doesn't mean she doesn't love or appreciate you if she like wants to know more about her birth mom or wants to, whatever.
And so just being willing to just be a safe space for her and for Finn's so young, but for both of them to just have whatever emotions they have that comes along with it, I think is important to recognize from the beginning. And I think recognizing that like Dorothy and Finn will both their birth mothers will have something, a part of them that I'm never going to have. And that was hard for me in the beginning, just like knowing that I didn't have that specific connection to my babies, but letting that emotion and that love be there and being okay with it, and realizing that they have a birth mom that they're going to have this specific connection with, and that can be a beautiful thing, and my own connection with them can be its own separate beautiful thing. That's still hard for me honestly to think about, and to imagine that, but
a lot of these things, and we know basically not like, I mean, we can do as much reading and research and listen to as many podcasts as you want, but every kid from our experience, like every adoptee is gonna feel differently about it. We've talked to some adoptees that are like, I have no desire to meet my birth parents. I'm totally happy with, and I have no concerns. And then you hear some that have heartbreaking stories or that are devastated by it and have serious emotional trauma because of it, and everywhere in between, And so,
and I think we can do our part in that, in helping ease the transition into all the questions and everything, and being in like
making it part of their story from the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, there was that Whitley met some 18-year-old girl at a store one day, right?
Yeah.
That basically, I guess.
I was picking out baby clothes, and she was like, oh, and I was like, yeah, it's for my baby, we're adopting. And she was like, oh, I found out like a year ago that I was adopted. and she was 18 and she had just found out that she had been adopted.
And how did she find out?
And she found out through Facebook through one of her like biological something.
And her parents were probably just trying her
They were
best, and we
trying,
know so
yeah.
much better now, but that is such a sad story to us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why we try to keep it a part of the conversation at all times, so it's never a sit down moment where we have to reveal this giant
and we're
truth
hoping,
about their identity, you know?
we're hoping to like make it like we want to talk about it a fair amount so that it's not something that everybody around her feels like they have to be like, so you were adopted, right? Like, are you cool? Are you good? Like, you know, I don't want it to be like a subject that people don't feel like they can, like, I just want it to be a natural part of who she is and, you know, something that she can be proud of. And, you know, I don't know. Just, I hope that her, like her cousins and everybody that she's around doesn't feel like when she gets older, they have to tiptoe around the subject. I want it to be just a natural part of who she is. And that's, I keep saying just Dorothy.
We have
He
another
is too.
kid. He's only one though. He doesn't count.
We've talked so much about Dorothy being adopted. We haven't really talked about Finn being adopted to very many people. So yeah.
I think another major concern. Sorry, this is kind of a change of subject if we're kind of off that tangent, but another major concern that those considering adoption go through is like just the amount of unknowns that are involved. Like you feel it's not true, but you feel like when you're having a biological kid that you have control over the situation, you know, like how everything's going to turn out, how the birth's going to go, how the health of the baby is going to go, how you know, you feel like you have control, which you have more control in your hands obviously than when you're adopting. But when you're adopting, it's scary because you feel like you have no control. You know, there could be drugs involved. The baby could not be cute. Not that you have control over that, but there's just you just feel out of control, I guess. You know, and that's a scary thing.
Sometimes we think that's why we haven't had our own biological kid, is because there's no way they could be as cute as our two adopted kids.
We don't want our biological kid like, why am I the ugly duckling of the family? Like, sorry, you got our genes. But I think letting go of that control and realizing that you don't actually have control in at all in life, really. You could have a baby, you know, and not that this is a negative thing, but you could have Down syndrome or other health problems, and that's just going to be a part of your story, and it's not something you have control over. And same goes with adoption. You're taking some risks, especially adopting someone else's baby and not knowing the health history and the, you know, other things that could have been involved. But we had a great piece of advice with that too. Someone told us, stop thinking about all the variables that could be that are out floating in the air. The only thing you need to think about is this baby. So this is when we kind of found out about Finn, and we're deciding, is this right for us? And they said, stop thinking about all the variables and think about, is this baby yours? Is this baby supposed to come to you? You know, do you feel like this baby is supposed to be yours? And if the answer to that is yes, then you accept all the risks and all the variables that come along with that, you know what I mean? And if that answer is no, then that's okay too, you know? But ultimately we knew Finn was supposed to be ours, and he's perfect. He's sleeping right now, so we can't show you his chubby face. He's huge. He's the same size as Dorothy, and he's 1 year old and she's 4, and they weigh the same. So we'll see. Maybe people will know they're not biological siblings just by their body sizes. But people say all the time that our kids look like us too, so that's cool. They also look like their birth parents, which is cool too.
No, I love that. My favorite thing about you guys is how honest you have kept it, because I feel like a lot of adoptive parents are like happy-go-lucky. I mean, and they don't really address the hard parts. Like there are hard parts. And I love that you said that like you still have that fear of being like, you know, a mom, like they have that mom, but I'm their mom and all this other things. And it's the unknown. Even with like your own kids, it's unknown. Like when we had our first, I looked at my husband because we waited to have kids. And after she came, I'm like, what did we do? We just ruined our freedom. Like, take her back. I don't want her.
Like, that's why when we first got Dorothy, they were like, we want you to adopt Dorothy. And we were kind of like, whoa, well, really? Okay.
You could consider that as a pro or con, because if you put yourself in that situation, you could have a baby in 1 second, which is what depends how you think about it, whether it's a pro or a con. But yeah, our lifestyle changed almost immediately.
Yes.
You don't have 9 months of warning, but also it was one of the most exciting, exhilarating, coolest. Like, I feel bad for everyone that has an adopted baby, because we don't know what having a biological kid is like, but the process of adoption and just I don't know, it's really, really cool and special. We got to be in the room when Finn was born, and oh my gosh, it's just so unique and so incredible.
We had our ear to the door when Dorothy was born, could hear her first cry, and got to go in right after. I mean, it's so unique and different. They're all any way a baby comes to the earth is amazing, but it's been really cool to experience those things.
No, I love it. Like, I seriously love it. And that's my favorite thing. I love people that keep it open, honest, and real. Like, because it's true. Like, I love that you've acknowledged that with, you know, those feelings, because it's 100% true. When I went to go find my bio mom, my mom was not happy with me. Like, she was very frustrated, but took me some time to realize, okay, you know, she's got to process that too. And I get it. Like, I get it, because it's scary. It's the unknown. Like you were saying, the unknown with anything, she wanted the best for me. And I know, coming from Colombia back 34 years ago, it's like drug capital of the world. Not like that so much anymore, but I mean, that's what she saw when she went down there. So I get it. I wholeheartedly get it. And it's just nothing but love and concern. So I totally, understand that. Anything else you guys want to add or share?
Thanks for allowing a space for us to talk about it and bring awareness. And I think this is awesome of you to be doing something like this.
Such a cool resource for adoptees and you know, adoptive parent, everyone in the triangle of adoption.
No, it's been fun. It's been so fun. I've had everybody. I've even had I interviewed a lady last week who she just legally took this kid into her home. It didn't really form into and it was pretty cool. I love all the different unique stories. Like, there's one who's still with her mom, but she had a dad adopter. It's just crazy. I love it. There's so many different ways it can come roundabout, and it's been my favorite thing. And I learn something new every single time I do an interview. And that's my favorite thing, is I just want to educate people that adoption's happy, but there's also a lot of heavy crap that comes with it too, that, needs to be acknowledged on every single part of the triangle, not just one, not just adoptees, not just birth moms, not just adoptive parents. Everybody has some really hard crap to go through, but in the end, it really can be beautiful if people just,
Agreed.
Yeah. So, okay. Anything else?
Adoption's awesome.
We're very lucky. We feel blessed.
We feel like we get the easiest job of the three.
Yes, for sure. We just
get blessed by these beautiful, awesome kids, and it's so cool.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for taking some time out of your day to sit down and do this with me. And you guys go follow them. Oh wait, yeah. Seriously, go follow them. They started doing dance videos in December, and they just keep it going. And they're so much fun because their dances Costin Mayer is one that they do all their dance. It's awesome. I love these guys. Go follow them. They seriously.
It's the C+ of the Costin Mayer dances.
Yeah, whatever. No, it's awesome. And it's even cooler that Fulham House did your guys' dance. I was like, wow, when they did it. So super cool. So seriously though, but thank you guys for taking some time out of your day and doing this for me.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.